Became really scared, confused, erratic, aggressive to everybody around me because I didn't want to live in a world where he might be burning. But then I did end up reading into Islam, and I became hooked on it, and I realized that they do believe in the same God, and therefore I could read into it. I could look into it and see if maybe it was the true religion. Hey guys, so the most common question I get is, why did I convert? So I want to get into that today. I decided that this would be way too long of a video, so I'm going to be putting it into 2 parts because it's really important to understand my backstory before you understand why I converted. This video is going to kind of go over how I grew up and, you know, how I dealt with religion as I grew up, because it really does tie into the struggle I had with my conversion. I grew up with an atheist father and a Christian mother. I didn't have a lot to do with my dad's side of the family because they lived pretty far away, so I spent a lot of time with my mom's side of the family, who were also Christian. Our household wasn't very strict, obviously, because my dad was an atheist, but we were free to go to church or do whatever we'd like in terms of our religion. My auntie lived in BC at the time, and we tend to visit her often. She was devoted Christian with her family, so we went to church with her, and a lot of, I think, my religious teachings did come from her. One thing that a lot of people don't know about me is I was extremely religious up until about 12. I just didn't say anything. I prayed every day, twice a day, and I really did take God into mind for most of my decisions. I kept this secret just because I was ashamed of it, so I think that's important to know. Now, the problem was as I grew older, I started to question the Bible quite a bit, and it started to not make sense to me, and that led to me kind of dropping my religion. I still believed in God, but I just had a really hard time with the Bible itself, and so I didn't really practice anymore after the age of 12. The only thing I did keep very close to heart was my virginity. I really wanted to stay a virgin until marriage, or at least until I was in a very stable relationship. This was something a lot of people knew about me, but also a lot didn't. I really did put on the face that religion was nothing to me and that I was fully okay with having sex at any time. But this seriously wasn't the truth. So from the age of 12 to just after 14, 2 months after my 14th birthday, I was kind of in an in-between. I didn't really know how to feel. When I was 14, I had my virginity taken from me forcibly. And after that, I completely abandoned all practice. I have had a very traumatic upbringing, and, you know, as a kid, I had a God complex. I thought I was indestructible, so I always thought, how dare God put me through all of this and then take the one thing that kept my faith strong, my virginity. So I ended up rebelling, and I went down the wrong path, and because of the trauma regarding the circumstances around my virginity, I ended up developing hypersexuality, and, well, I lived. So go to part 2 and we can actually talk about my conversion completely there. Hey guys, this is part 2 of my conversion story. So I want to get right into it because there's a lot of information I don't think I can fit in 3 minutes. So the only time I actually did look into religion after abandoning Christianity was when somebody would die. I had 2 different scenarios where somebody died, and I immediately went to my auntie, who gave me Bible verses and advice, but it just made me angry because she couldn't actually answer my question, but in the end, nobody can. I wanted to know where they were and if there was anything I could do to help them. Then my brother died. Me and my brother were really close, and that crushed me. I became really scared, confused, erratic, aggressive to everybody around me because I didn't want to live in a world where he might be burning. and it haunted me every single day. And this did lead me to look into religions, all different kinds, but I never found one because I left Islam out due to religious prejudice. All I knew about Islam is it was a false religion that caused terrorism. But then I did end up reading into Islam, and I became hooked on it, and I realized that they do believe in the same God, and therefore I could read into it. I could look into it and see if maybe it was the true religion. About 6 months later, I'd say, I ended up opening up the Qur'an for the first time. I just downloaded an app on my phone, and that day is what caused me to decide I was going to convert. I had some sort of experience that I'm going to try to describe, but it's really hard to put into words. It was a full sensory out-of-body experience. It was kind of like a hallucination, a very intense hallucination. And it was like there was a figure extremely far ahead of me, and it was white, very white. Not a whole lot of background, and then ahead of me there were stairs, and then just very small amounts of stairs, and then there was almost like a blob that I couldn't actually recognize, but I knew it was God. Beside God was my brother, and that was the whole vision. But after I came out of the vision, I had obtained knowledge that I didn't have before, and my feelings had completely switched. I no longer resented or hated the Bible. I was no longer angry with God. All of those negative feelings were just gone in an instant. It was the craziest thing I've ever experienced. And I knew that my brother was okay, and all the fear for him was gone as well. I believe that it was a message, obviously, from God. He realized I needed a push, and he gave me a very telltale sign that I knew what I needed to do. But I also knew that I would be able to take my time, so I did wait, and I basically accidentally reverted. I kind of freaked out and realized I could die any moment, and I reverted during Ramadan, and I realized that I just need to take my time and learn, and that's where I am now. I converted about a year after that experience. So yeah.